Hello everyone, I'm Sarah from Sarah Style Designs, and today we are going to be looking at the top 10 brush lettering pens for beginners. So it's super important when you're first starting out with brush lettering to have a good pen. Your pen can definitely help you or it can hurt you. So this is what we are going to talk about today. So one of the main things that we are looking at when determining which is the best is the flexible nib, and you want a nib that bounces back. If the nib doesn't hold its shape, then it'll make it super difficult for you to learn with. And also other features that we're looking at is ink quality, affordability, and user-friendly design. So starting in at number 10 is the Sharpie brush pen. So these have a large nib, and the nib is actually very flexible. The color options are somewhat limited, but these are somewhat affordable. They're under $20. It's around $18 on Amazon for a pack of 12. So one thing that I like about these is that the nib is extra flexible and it does hold its shape. But one thing that I do not like is that the colors are limited, and if you know what a Sharpie pen smells like, these brush pens smell exactly like a Sharpie pen. So if you do not like that smell, then you will not like these pens. I've also had mine for a really long time, so as you can tell, they're kind of starting to dry out. It's almost time for a new set. But overall, this is why these are ranked number 10, just because of their lack of colors, and I really dislike the smell. I think for a beginner, you're going to be better off with not such a large nib. So that is why this is at number 10. So next, coming in at number 9, we have the Royal Talens Ecoline brush pen. These are a flexible nib brush pen with a super juicy ink. The inks actually match. They have a line of liquid watercolors, so that's kind of nice. That's one thing that I do like about them. The reason why these came in at 9, they do have a large nib, and like I said, the nib is super flexible, which makes it more difficult for beginners. One thing that's good about these is they have tons of color options, and these are more on the pricey side. They range for like $15 for about 5 of them, or over $60 for a set of 30. One reason why it's a little bit difficult to use them is because with the nib being so flexible, it makes it really difficult for it to bounce back. So you don't get the feedback on the upstrokes like you do with a more firm brush nib. And you'll see some examples of some of these as we get lower down on the numbers to the top pens. Now, this one might surprise some people, but coming in at number 8 is Tombow Dual Brush Pens. These are a dual-sided pen with one side being a brush nib and the other one being a bullet nib. These are super popular amongst beginners. They have that large nib, and the nib is very flexible, but it bounces back to its fine point. There are tons and tons of colors and curated sets, which I do like that they have smaller curated sets that you can choose, like pastels or landscape colors, just sets like that make it really nice to pair with a project. They're very affordable. You can buy them individually, or you can buy them in a pack of 6, a pack of 10. They even have a set of 108. So they are also really available. You can find them at Michael's. I've seen them at just tons of different stores, whereas a lot of brush pens you really can't find in stores. If you are interested in learning calligraphy or brush lettering like this, make sure you check out my free calligraphy basics course. I have the link in the description. It will walk you through everything you need to know as a beginner, and there's free worksheets in there as well. At number 7, we have the Marvi Uchida Le Pen Flex. These are a small nib brush pen, and they almost look like they have a felt tip. They have a really firm feeling on the nib, which is great for beginners because it makes it really easy to get that control from thin upstrokes to thick downstrokes. These pens come in a few different curated sets. The set that I'm using is the Jewel Tone set. These range in price on Amazon from around $10 for a set of 6. I've seen $22 for a set of 10, and then also $38 for a set of 24. I think that small nib brush pens are a great option when it comes to just learning brush lettering. Coming in at number 6 are these Zig brushables. The Zig brushables are known for having their dual tipped markers, and both sides are actually brush tips. The one thing that I like about it is that one side is a shade either darker or lighter depending on which one you're starting with, but it's just a shade off of the other one. So it's nice because you can do shadows really easily, and the colors are just slightly off so you can tell the difference. They do have a lot of colors. Again, with the dual-sided nibs, it makes for a wide variety of shades. And as far as the price, these are around $54 for the set of 24 brush pens. But if you think about it, it's actually 48 colors. So it is a larger set that you can purchase it in. And that's why it feels like it's more pricey, but you're actually getting 48 pens for the cost of $54. The nib is larger, but it does bounce back really well, and it's a lot easier to control. So that is also another reason why these are in the middle of the pack. Coming in at number 5, we have the Kuretake Fidugo Kochi pens. And I probably butchered that, so please let me know if you guys know the correct way to pronounce this. These are a small nib brush pen, and these are great for beginners. They actually even have an extra fine nib too for even smaller lettering. I really just prefer this size brush nib though that you see that I'm using here. The nib on these is firm. The one thing about these though is the colors. So these only come in a black or a gray that I have seen. I haven't seen them in a set of like multiple colors. And when you go and look for them, you can find them on Amazon for around $8 for a set of 3. These are great for writing like long scripts, or if you have something you want to write in a card and it's a little bit longer of a message. It really helps to have a small nib brush pen. I love these because the nib is perfect for beginners since it's a firmer nib. On the upstrokes, it's a lot easier to keep that controlled, which is why these are great for beginners. So coming in at number 4, we have the Pentel Touch brush pens. These are a smaller nib brush pen, and you actually have to be really careful when you buy these. Please make sure it says flexible nib, great for brush lettering, because they have these same exact pens that have like a bullet nib, and the packaging looks almost identical. So just make sure that it says flexible nib. If you get the flexible nib, then you're in good shape. So these actually feel very similar to the Kuretake pens that I just mentioned. But one thing that I love about these is that they have tons of different colors, and it just makes it more bright and cheery and fun when you're learning brush lettering. It does have a small brush nib, and the nib is very firm, which is perfect for beginners, like I've mentioned before. So they have actually two larger sets. One is like the primary set, and then one they call the pastel set, but it has other colors besides pastels. But I actually really like it. It's like a kind of floral, almost a vintagey set. This is the set that I'm using in this section of the video. These are probably a little more pricey than other brush pens, especially for a small nib brush pen set. It's around $20 to $25 depending on which set you get for a set of 12. Pentel is a highly trusted pen name, and I definitely trust these with any projects that I might be working on. All right, so now we are getting down to it. We are down to number 3, which is the Stabilo 68 brush pen. These are not actually as common, and people may not have even heard of these, but these are ones that I really, really like, and I think they're great for beginners. So the nib size is, I usually say small or large, but in this case, I feel like the nib size is actually a medium size. It has a really flexible nib, but it's still very firm, almost like a brush, which is perfect for beginners because it allows you to write those very thin upstrokes with minimal control. These come with 24 colors, not quite as many as other brands, but it's still a good amount. It is around $27 for a pack of 24. But these are fairly newer, so there might be more colors coming out, and eventually the price might go down based on availability. I think because they're newer, they're not quite as available, so that's why the price is a little bit higher. One thing to note too, in my pack when I did purchase these, it came with 2 of the same color for I think 2 of the colors. So they were the same. It just basically said on the package like doubled your favorite colors. So I don't know why they do that. Maybe they didn't have 2 more, but 2 of the colors will be double, just so you are aware. Overall, these are a great choice for beginners just because they're ease of use and very easy to control. So you couldn't go wrong if you got a set of these. Coming in at number 2 is the Tombow Funosuke pen. And these are primarily known for the black brush pens. They are a small nib brush pen. They actually have 2 different nib styles. They have a hard and a soft, and both are great for beginners. The hard one is more firm and creates thinner lines on the upstroke. The nib sizes are actually both the same, but they just have different flexibilities. So the softer one is obviously softer, like the title, which makes it a little bit more difficult for the bounce back, but they're still very easy to use for beginners. One thing that I really like is that Tombow did is that they started out with black, but now they have a lot more colors. They still don't have as many as other brands, but they do have like a primary pack, and then they have a neon pack. And I actually think they came out with a pastel pack. So I know that Tombow, their dual brush pens, have tons of colors, so I'm sure that these eventually will have tons more than what they have now because the colors are fairly new. So I can imagine it will continue to just grow and grow. Now, it's kind of hard to tell, but the black pens, there's 2 different colors. So there's a navy blue and this is the shade of the actual pen. And then there's a very dark green, and it's kind of hard to see the difference, but the green one is the soft nib and the blue one is the hard nib. So if you see these pens and one is blue and one is green, that's what the difference is. Another thing that I love about these is that they are super affordable. So, especially just for the black ones, they're very inexpensive. You can get 6 for $10 and usually in the packs, they'll give you like 3 of the hard nibs and then 3 of the soft nibs. And I usually actually buy them in bulk, and you can get them for even cheaper because I use these for like addressing envelopes and writing longer scripts and stuff like that. So for the color packs, it's just $12 to $15 for the 10 pack. I cannot emphasize how much these are great for beginners. I started out using actually Crayola markers, so not even a real brush pen, but then I got a black pen like this and I just kept practicing and I grew to love the pen because it was really easy for me to use and control. Okay, so for number 1, we have Caran markers. Now, Caran markers are also fairly new to the brush lettering world. But one thing that I really love about these is their liquid ink technology. Now, you may have not heard of this before, but basically what it means is that you can use these pens up until the very last drop of ink in the pen. They have like an ink chamber so that you can see how much ink is in the pen. And I just absolutely love that because the color is vibrant all the time. It does not feel like these are ever drying out on you. Actually, until there's no more ink left in the pen. And I can say that I've had mine for a good amount of time and like years, 4 to 5 years. And I'm still on the same set that I first got. And I use these all the time. So I can't stress that enough that they are very high quality. So these are a large nib brush pen. One thing though about this nib is the nib is really firm. So you can vary the downstroke width with pressure. And you can do this with other pens, but not like you can with this one. Also with the upstroke, because the nib is so much firmer than other brush nibs that I've used, it makes it very easy to control, like you're using just a regular marker on your upstrokes, which is super important for beginners. Now, as far as color options, there are tons of colors. As you can tell, they have over 72 colors. And also in the set, it comes with neon colors and blender pens too, which is basically just like a clear liquid. As far as affordability, now this is where people might see the price and get freaked out, but they are extremely valuable and worth it. So although you may be paying a little bit more, they're going to last you a lot longer than a set that you would just purchase. So I can promise you that because I've had these for so long and I've used them on many surfaces and I'm still using them 5 years later. Now, if you don't want to invest in a larger set, you can always get smaller packs because they sell smaller packs for like $25 to $30. Or they sell like a mini box, which is 26. There's 26 pens and it's around $50. So I cannot stress how much I absolutely love these pens. Besides the fact that they're great for brush lettering, they're also super versatile. With their ink, you can use it for other projects like watercolor. You can make watercolor backgrounds. I cannot rave about them enough in the quality. Okay, so that was my list of top 10 brush pens for beginners. If you have any questions, please let me know down below in the comments. If you're wondering why I didn't choose a specific one, please ask, and maybe I haven't heard of it before, or maybe I haven't tested it. So I would love to test out different pens to let you guys know how they are. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you are not subscribed already, and I will see you in the next video.